Hey everyone, it's been a while since I've made a video. I know not many people actually watch my videos anyway, but I wanted to make this because this is a very special occasion. Today is the first year anniversary of when Robin Williams killed himself through hanging, as horrible as that is for me to say. But his death really impacted a lot of people, millions of people around the world, and I felt that, for me to say that he didn't have an influence on my life is a lie. He influenced millions of people all around the world, and he has provided 4 decades worth of entertainment. So to begin, I just want to, talk to people about who he is, for those who don't know, and that's probably very many young people, older people, a lot of older people know who he is, a lot of people within the time frame that he was alive during, and I think it's important to remember who he was and who he was in terms of contributing to our pop culture in America. So, Robin Williams was a stand-up comedian who got his start on TV. He played an alien called Mork on Happy Days, and at some point down the road, he actually had his own spin-off television show called Mork and Mindy. Later on, he would go ahead and do he would go from TV into movies. He would be in movies such as Popeye, Dead Poets Society, this is just not in any particular order, Good Morning Vietnam, Jumanji, The Birdcage. People knew him in the Disney movie Aladdin, Mrs. Doubtfire. He was Teddy Roosevelt in Night at the Museum, and all these, a lot of movies that he ended up being in. And he was unlike any actor, any comedian out there. I mean, he was just so quick with what he said, and he was just sharp, and he can just make anything. He can make anything funny, okay? There's this one clip that he had in one of his stand-up specials where he had a scarf. Just a scarf, just from a random person in the audience, and he made that scarf into whatever he wanted. So he, dressed it up, and he was a flamboyant gay person, and then later he was a Muslim, and then later, and it was rapid fire. And he did that with everything that he did. So what I wanted to do today, that's just in the introduction, but what I wanted to do today was, there's a list here, and I'm going to put a link in the description. This is a website called thepowerofpositivity.com, and this is a list of 11 life lessons to learn from Robin Williams. What I'm going to do, this is going to be part 1. I'm going to read them out loud, read what they say, and then I'm going to read what Robin Williams said based on the topic that he covers. The second video of which I'm actually going to analyze what this means in terms of my perspective on this and applying what Robin Williams has said. Because, I mean, the biggest lesson, well, anyway, I'm going to elaborate later on that. But let me just read at least part of this. So, to begin, ironically enough, my favorite movie of all time, just of all time, is Dead Poets Society. And he was in that. And that says a lot. He actually attributes Dead Poets Society as his favorite movie role that he has ever done. And in the article here, it says, I think Dead Poets Society was probably my favorite just to get started with the idea of doing a movie that people treated as more than just a movie. And this is the ideology that I think that he wanted to get across to people, is that you can be something even bigger than yourself. The idea of you will strike, and you can think of multiple things. There are multiple facets to who you can be, who you can mold yourself to be. You aren't just, Stephen Martin or whatever, just a random name. You aren't just Stephen Martin. What if you're Stephen Martin, the next person who's going to cure cancer? or let's say the next person who creates those little sticky things when you know, testing your heart rate or your whatever, you know, that you're something that's bigger than yourself. And he was bigger than life, you know. So let me just get started right now. I'm going to read the list right now. So here are 11 life lessons we can all learn from Robin Williams in his own words. So number 1, do what feeds your creative spirit. And he says, we don't read and write poetry because it's cute. We read and write poetry because we are members of the human race. And the human race is filled with passion. And the medicine, law, business, engineering, these are noble pursuits and necessary to sustain life. But poetry, beauty, romance, love, these are what we all stay alive for. Number 2, do whatever it takes to make meaningful connections. I basically started performing for my mother going, love me! What drives you to perform is the need for a primal connection. When I was little, my mother was funny with me, and I started to be charming and funny for her. And I learned that by being entertaining, you can make a connection with another person. Number 3, everyone has story that we know nothing about. I think the saddest people try their hardest to make people happy because they know what it's like to feel absolutely worthless, and they don't want anyone else to feel like that. Number 4, pursue relentlessly the things you believe in. And it just says, no matter what people tell you, words and ideas can change the world, which is kind of what I said earlier, but it's true. That is something that he really did believe in. Number 5, there is a lesson to be found in everything. You will have bad times, but they will always wake you up in the stuff you weren't paying attention to. Number 6, relationships matter. I used to think the worst thing in life is to end up all alone. It's not. The worst thing in life is to end up with people who make you feel all alone. Number 7, sometimes the best response is no response at all. Even fools seem smart when they are quiet. Number 8, find the silver lining in every experience. Sometimes other things that I did, movies that didn't turn out very well, you go, why did you do that? But in the end, I can't regret them because I met amazing people. There was always something that was worth it. Number 9, keep alive the things that make you feel alive. You're only given a little spark of madness. You mustn't lose it. Excuse me. Number 10, even the most brilliant, confident, and most successful people are insecure at times. The essential truth is that sometimes you're worried that they'll find out it's a fluke, that you don't really have it. You've lost the muse, or worse, the worst dread, you never had it at all. I went through all that madness early on. And finally, it says here, number 11, there is always a need for hustle. I think I meant there, but that was just a typo. Anyway, winning an Oscar is an honor, but between you and me, it does not make things easier. And so to stop there, and I won't read the rest of the article, obviously. He dealt with depression, I think bouts of anxiety, and also it was recently discovered that he had Parkinson's disease later in his life before he passed away. Also alcohol and drug issues as well, because of his depression. And I have never dealt with depression personally before. However, I will admit that I do have people in my life within the past year or so that I have had, that do have and are currently struggling with depression, and it is not an easy thing at all. Definitely, with something like this, he opted the, I wouldn't say easiest way out, but he opted out. And people, when this happened, and when this was coming out about his death, people were saying that it was something that was selfish of him to do, or that people in general do because that they think, oh, they're just going to kill themselves and that's going to be the end of it, what cowards they are. They're not cowards at all. It's a struggle. And for the people that I've been able to handle, I actually had someone almost kill themselves once. I won't say who, but it was tough. It was very hard for me to process something like that. And then when I found out that I actually did all that I could, they're still alive now. And, you know, whether it be the actual person themselves or the person standing by because they know one of their friends is going to kill themselves, help is going to be the most essential thing you do. Taking action is the most essential thing to do. And I'm just saying that in general. I know I'm talking about Robin Williams, but I really wanted to get that out there. And it's really become an issue for me that has I don't know what the word is. Again, this is only one take, so I'm going to trip up, obviously. What I'm saying is that you have to seek help, and other people around that person who has depression, they got to also figure out how to seek help too. It's so important. And we live in communities for reasons. We're not in this alone. He said it earlier. What was it? Hold on. He said earlier on, I used to think the worst in life is to end up all alone. It's not. The worst thing in life is to end up with people that make you feel alone. And with anyone, it doesn't matter if you have depression or not, if you feel alone, then it's going to create negative energy that is otherwise going to maybe make you want to kill yourself. And we don't want that. My belief is that you should promote positivity no matter where you go. And even if people are kind of resistant to it, they're only resistant to it at first. They're never resistant to it once they process after the fact. And that's what people don't understand. It's that they think that once you tell them, they'll get it. That's not how it works. At all. I don't mean for this to be a rant. I don't mean this to be sounding angry. But, you know, for the past year now, this is what I've learned. And this is what I learned from Robin Williams in particular, which is that, you know, he had his whole family with him. Maybe not when he died, but he was surrounded by everybody that he loves. And there are people who aren't. And I'm saying that has to change. Not that it's not happening now. I'm just saying that for people who aren't doing it now, maybe think about it. Maybe process it just a little bit more. And that's it. That's all I'm saying is that maybe really consider what other people are going through. I mean, again, I'm going to elaborate on each of the points in the other video that I'm going to make, but what I'm saying is there's more to it than just what you're seeing. There's an inner part of people that nobody knows about. And I'm not saying to dig that part out. I mean, privacy is very important. I'm just saying, don't treat it like everything's okay. Not just with people with depression, but with anybody. Anybody with anything. Mentally. Or physically. Food for thought. So, I don't know. Besides the other video, I honestly, just to end this, I don't really know when I'll get back on it. I know I'm trying to do the Derping Around podcast. There's only been 2 episodes. Those aren't technically episodes. Those are just sort of like prototype episodes. But I'll get back on it. And we're going to have some fun. So, if you want to see part 2, maybe I'll just point out. Click right here. And you can see part 2. In the meantime, this is Bombastic Relish. Signing off.